If you want to do this, then the thing to do is start making videos, as Lisa said. Nobody in the business looks at paper anymore. Nobody reads resumes. Nobody cares where you went to school. Nobody cares what courses you did. Nobody cares. The only thing they want to see is the product they're going to put on the air. So the sweet spot here is about a minute to 2 minutes because people have really short attention spans. The thing has got to rock from the beginning to end. You know, it just start and never stop. It has to be the kind of video that they'll look at and go, whoa, I got to have more of that. It's not that hard to do. But this is the medium that we're dealing in. So stop writing proposals. Stop putting your resume together. Nobody gives a crap. We produce 15 half hours a week, sometimes more, depends how we produce a lot of television. We hire a lot of people. We couldn't care less where they went to school. We don't care what their prior experience is. We have a guy coming to apply for a job tomorrow, and we do the same thing all the time. He comes in and we give him a camera, and we say, here's the camera, there's the door, come back in 2 hours. Go shoot and cut something. It can be a minute. If you can do that, if you can deliver the content they want, that's what people are buying. They're not interested in anything else. And as far as websites or magazines or newspapers or TV, if you're pitching shows, it's all about putting the thing together so that it just rocks.
You done?
I think I'm done.
Okay. The other thing that always comes up is equipment. You know, people tend to put off making video because they think they need to buy a lot of equipment. And I mentioned at the start that really an iPhone is all you need. I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes talking about equipment and what you really do need to get started to make good quality travel video. Because obviously there are some quality thresholds that you have to meet. How many of you have actually shot video before? Okay, so almost everyone. And when you go to start creating travel content, the most important investment you're going to make is in your camera. And as Michael said, it can be an iPhone, or you can buy yourself a camcorder. You know, you can buy yourself one of these kind of consumer-sized cameras, or you can go for something a little bit bigger, something like a Sony A1U, or maybe JVC do a very nice camera that's about yo big, that shoots onto a card. So, you know, you can invest as little as, you know, $500 or $600 in a camera, or you can go and spend $2,000 or $3,000 for a camera. The difference, broadly speaking, is two things. One, the lensing is better on the more expensive cameras. And secondly, audio. Audio is really, really important. And when you're thinking about getting equipment, you need to really consider the audio when you're buying a camera. And that's where the iPhone obviously falls down because it has a tiny little microphone in it. When you buy a camera, try and buy a camera that has professional mic inputs, something called XLR inputs, and that's those kind of metal plugs that you see. And that way you'll be able to plug in a really good shotgun mic and get good quality audio. 70% of what you see is what you hear. I worked at the BBC for 20 years, and I can tell you, I worked in live news and documentaries, and every night when the news was going out, the only time the phone would ring would be when someone called to complain about the sound. They never called to complain about the picture. You could book up crappy pictures, and they wouldn't care, but the minute the audio was bad, they would be calling in. So the sound is really important, and if you're going to go out and start making content professionally, then that's a good starting point, is to invest in a camera that gives you professional quality audio. So that's the ability to plug in a shotgun mic, but also to have a wireless microphone like the one I have here on my lapel that plugs into your camera and has a transmitter and a receiver, which means that you can record wirelessly the audio from your character as you're off filming. So you don't need a lot to get started. You can start with an iPhone and you can practice and you can learn from that. You can make videos on an iPhone. But you can also upgrade a little bit, and the best investment you're going to make is in your camera. So the most important thing is to get out and actually start to make videos. In addition to the camera and making sure that you have good audio, obviously there's editing software, and that runs a huge spectrum these days. There's very, very simple edit software, which is literally drag and drop, or you can go up to something, you know, that is much more complicated, something like Final Cut 10, where you're going to need to spend a little bit more time learning about it. Some of it depends whether you're going to be working on a PC or whether you're going to be working on a Mac. But the most important thing is to find a piece of software that you like and then practice using it as much as possible. So go out, shoot, come back, and actually edit your own content. The only way to get better with editing is to practice. Learning to edit is a bit like learning to play chess. You can learn the basic moves in a day, but it takes a lifetime to master. And you've probably seen things that have been absolutely beautifully crafted in the edit. You know, if you look at most Hollywood movies, the editing is spectacular. You know, they pay for very, very good editors. And editing is a skill that is very, very easy to learn. I learned at the BBC 15 years ago to edit on something called Avid, which I absolutely hated. And now I teach people to edit on iMovie, I teach people to edit on Final Cut, and it's very, very simple. And anybody can learn it. It's the thing that people find the most intimidating, and yet when you practice and you actually try it, it's much easier than you think. So don't be put off by the idea of needing to buy tons and tons of equipment. You need a good camera, you need to record good audio, and you need to practice editing, because editing is a skill, and it's a skill that's easy to learn, but it does require practice. You'll have seen in one of the shots there a small camera on a tripod. We don't use tripods that often, but for some things in travel you do need a tripod. What a tripod gives you is a level surface effectively to put the camera on. So if you're filming vistas, if you're filming buildings, anything with horizontal and vertical lines, then the camera needs to be on a tripod so that it's absolutely level. You can't hold it level yourself. But really you need very little in terms of equipment to get going. And the equipment shouldn't be your barrier to entry in this business. It should be absolutely the easiest thing that you can do because the equipment is cheap, it's lightweight, and you don't need to buy a lot to get started.